Doug Willmore, the CEO of World Tree. Doug is the Chief Executive Officer and a leading agroforestry company focused on growing farming communities and producing strong returns to its investors and farmer base. Doug, you're on.
Thank you very much, Paul. Appreciate it. My dad always told me, don't say much about yourself. They'll do plenty of it when you're gone. And so I'm definitely going to follow that advice this morning. But Peter, thank you for inviting World Tree to present. It's an honor to be here. Certainly an honor to share this time with other really sharp people this morning. And I'd be remiss before I go forward without really acknowledging all of the crazy times that we're in and the people that are suffering because of the pandemic, whether it be economically, physically, distance from families and friends, and parents at home trying to work and teach at the same time. It's really just an unbelievable time that we're in. And so I really want to acknowledge anyone and everyone who's really suffered and gone through tough times over the last 9 months with, no real end in sight at this point, certainly in the United States anyway. But so as I dive into this, I want to share that a short time ago, I was approaching a milestone birthday and I found myself a little depressed, which was not normal for me. It was just not normal. And I was asking myself, what's going on? What's going on here? And I had a great life, was very grateful, very fortunate. About 10 years ago, I'd left the private sector after a successful exit from a healthcare company that I was the CEO of and had helped grow. And I'd chosen a career in the public sector in government. I was a chief executive officer of a large county, Salt Lake County, and then city manager of 3 cities in California. And I'd done that solely for public service and to make a difference. But I noticed as I was asking the question, what's going on? What am I depressed about? I noticed that what was coming up for me was that the issue I cared about the most, climate change at that point in my life, government was failing at. And it had become very clear to me, and as much time that I'd worked in government trying to make a difference on climate, that it was very, very difficult to get local government to move in certain directions. Certainly looking at national governments, not enough was being done. And I got to the point where as recruiters would call me to ask about, hey, would you come work for another city? I finally would tell recruiters, unless you have a city that wants to be carbon neutral by 2030, don't call me. Because I didn't want to, it was an issue like that that really mattered to me. And so I found myself resigned. And I was asking myself, what's my purpose? Is this it? Is this all that I'm going to be able to do? And then just through happenstance and through a chance, I met Wendy Burton, the visionary founder of World Tree. And she offered me the opportunity of a lifetime. It was really an opportunity to protect native forests, to draw down massive amounts of carbon, and potentially to build a company with huge valuations and long-term benefits for farmers, for investors, and for partners. It was all built around the Empress tree, which you'll hear more about. The Empress tree is the fastest growing tree in the world. And so I started at World Tree a year ago, and I have to say I was reborn. And World Tree is really built around the notion, it's something that I saw when I was ending my government service. It looked to me like the key to us really impacting the climate issues we had was the private sector. That I saw the private sector taking action and making movement that government wasn't doing. And so I really wanted to get back to the private sector, and Wendy and World Tree gave me that opportunity. So World Tree is all about remarrying purpose and profit. And we would assert that the divorce of profit and or of purpose and how we make our money is at the very root cause of the environmental degradation we face today. Is that the fact that we decided that we should make money and that should be distinct and different from what we really care about and what we love, that those two things need to be brought together again. And so at World Tree, we really do that. We are specifically and we proudly tell people we're an investment, we're not a donation. Almost all the tree the tree opportunities you see out there regarding climate change, they're the philanthropic model, which is great. And I could tell you great nonprofits to donate to if you want to donate money to. First of all, the most important thing would be saving native forests, saving the rainforest, saving native forests, but then donating money to reforest those areas that have been deforested. That's all valuable and important. But at World Tree, we saw that it was vital that people could see that you could invest in trees and make a difference environmentally, as well as get a healthy return for farmers and for investors. So, to really speak to this group about where we're at, and while I won't spend too much time, but 4 million acres have burned in California this year. 4 million acres. That's double the previous high, which was 2 million acres in 2018, which was substantially higher than any year before that. 27 million acres burned in Australia last year. 27 million acres, 2 billion animals died. All of this related to climate change. We have 10 million hectares of native forests being deforested every year, still being deforested. To give people a sense of what that is, that's 48 football fields every minute. That's how much native forest is being deforested in the world today. To even bring it here closer to home, Western red cedar, which people use for outdoor furniture and decking and fencing and all sorts of outdoor uses, there's a growing shortage due to climate change, heat and drought. Prices have increased on Western red cedar by more than 30% since 2018. Some scientists say it will be extinct within 20 years. And all of this in this backdrop, the United Nations, World Wildlife Fund, a host of others expect that the demand for timber is expected to double by the year 2050. So at World Tree, we partner with investors and small farmers to grow rich, biodiverse climates, and specifically the Empress tree. Now, the Empress tree is officially the fastest growing tree in the world. It will reach close to full maturity within 10 years, and that's 60 to 80 feet tall. It will be big enough that you can't put your arms around it. A $3 seedling today will turn into a tree that's worth $1,000 10 years from now. Now, the other amazing thing, the Empress tree, one of the reasons because it grows so fast, it consumes massive amounts of carbon in its growth cycle. The early verification studies we've done and that have been done in other areas show that the Empress tree, an acre of Empress tree, consumes as much as 4 to 10 times as much carbon as any other tree in the world. It's widely grown and used in Asia, but not in North America. It used to be native to North America before the last ice age, and then it was frozen out and has not come back. We at World Tree are the largest grower of the Empress tree in North America. And so we offer this non-invasive tree to farmers And it's really offered through what we call the Eco Tree program. So we supply all the trees, all the knowledge, a genostock that we own. The investors supply the money and the farmers supply the land and the work over 10 years. At the end of 10 years, when we harvest and we're producing truly renewable lumber and timber, the farmers get 50% of the profits, the investors get 25%, World Tree gets 25%. Now we're currently in the market with the Reg A Plus offering, so I'm not gonna, I'm gonna make my attorneys happy and not say a thing about returns, but anyone can go to worldtree.eco and find out all about the EcoTree program. But $3,000 purchases 1 acre. So we're proud of the fact that we've put together a program that can bring together small and large investors and small farmers and make a difference into the timber space. So we look at the EcoTree program, it's protecting native forests, it's consuming massive amounts of carbon, and then it's producing wealth for farmers and investors as we go. We partner with more than 150 farmers in the southeastern US, Costa Rica, Guatemala, and Mexico. And farm timber has to be part of our solution going forward. You know, when you look at, I think many people probably are listening to this, have read or seen or skimmed Paul Hawkins' great book, Drawdown. You look at for the top 15 solutions that he has that they've rated in that book deal with forests and timber, and specifically renewable timber. We can no longer continue to deforest the earth for wood or for agriculture. We have to find ways to protect native forests and to produce a truly renewable timber. Empress trees are great for intercropping. Almost all of our farmers, certainly in Latin America, intercrop. We intercrop with coffee and cacao and shade-grown corn, other shade-loving plants, and really grow or produce diverse environments. One of the amazing things about this tree is after we harvest, it regrows from the same root system. It will do that up to,
excuse me, Doug, I just want to let you know you've got a couple of minutes left before
yeah,
we go to Q&A. Thanks.
okay. It will regrow up to 7 times from the same root system. And so we at World Tree, we're science leaders in the whole field of creating regenerative environments and renewable timber. We really believe in the fact that it has to be an important part of our solution going forward. We also partner with larger institutions and family offices on larger projects. We're currently doing a 15,000 acre project with a large coffee grower in Guatemala and Colombia right now. We have a large international bank that we're designing a 100,000 acre project in the Amazon basin for a very diverse timber project. And it's interesting, a quote from that bank, and this is the important thing, they told us back in January, you know, all of our clients are telling us, don't you have anything other than renewable energy for us to invest in? They're looking for nature-based carbon projects that make a difference in the environment. They don't have enough opportunities. So with that, Paul, I'll certainly close my comments and open it up to any Q&A with people, and certainly appreciate the time.
Well, thanks very much, Doug. And the first question that came in, you've answered it partly, but it's related to where do you find the farmers that that World Tree works with? It seems like you've got a very diverse community of farmers in different countries. How do you find the people that you know will work with you the way that you want them to?
Yeah, so first of all, right now, I mean, now we're almost 7 years into our EcoTree program. Almost all of the farmers that we get in Latin America come from word of mouth. So they're friends and family members of other farmers. We put them through a very rigorous screening process. And my dad used to joke as a family therapist, he'd say, the secret to a good marriage is choosing the right partner. And so we've certainly found one of the secrets to success here is choosing the right farmers who are really committed to doing what you need to do. These trees don't grow easily in the first 2 or 3 years. They take attention and effort and following our direction. And so the right area, the right property, the right land, the right farmer does that. We advertise in the Southeast United States for farmers, and for example, we've actually filled up all of our farmer slots in the United States for 2021 already, which is the first time that we've reached October and it's filled up.
Okay, great. Now you said you're working with farmers in the southeastern United States. I know that that's one of the most one of the busiest area for all different types of timber and and tree growing. Are you are you in the United States doing what you said about mixing your planting of trees with other crops on farmland in the U.S.?
We can't mandate that a farmer does that. We encourage them to do that. Many of our farmers are former pine tree growers, and the pine is not friendly to the soil. The empress tree is naturally regenerative to the soil and nitrogen fixing to the soil, and so one of the reasons they gravitate to us isn't just the improved environmental benefits and soil benefits, but the improved return. And so, we've got farmers doing grass-fed beef along with these trees, and there's amazing honey production from the blossoms on these trees. And so we really encourage farmers in the US to pair up as much as they can with the trees. And we're not as successful here as we are in Latin America with encouraging that. Almost all of our farmers in Latin America intercrop and do a really diverse, create a really diverse ecosystem.
Now you said that you've been World Tree has been doing the tree planting for was it 7 or 8 years
It is 7 years now, yes.
7 years so far. So your first crops, if you will be maturing in the next few years. And how is that going for your farmers so far? You said you've got about 150 farmers that you're working
Yeah, it's the returns. Again, the key test with these trees of the first 3 years is both survival as well as to produce high quality timber. The farmers need to prune shoots off the trees as they grow. So it takes a little bit of work for them, and that's all in the first 3 years. And as they do that and the tree's established, then the rest of the 7 years, just letting it grow, watching them grow. So those first farmers and investors from that first year will definitely meet the returns that we projected for them, which is really great for us. It's we think, a really, really strong return. And so we're really pleased that that business model is working out. Currently, we're out actually buying and harvesting independent stands of timber. Some farmers have grown Polonia or Empress wood on their own. President Jimmy Carter was one of them. He took part of his peanut farm and grew 15 acres of Empress trees. We harvested those last year for him and paid him for the timber. He was very, very happy because he didn't know what to do with the wood once he grew, well, once he'd grown it. But he's really happy with the carbon drawdown he got. His trees are already taller than the ceiling right now after harvesting in last January. So they're regrowing into a whole nother new crop.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Doug Willmore, Chief Executive Officer of World Tree. And it sounds like you've got a lot of projects in the works that will significantly expand your capabilities all over the tree growing world.
Yeah, we're happy. We're happy about that. It's the good and bad of this world right now. The bad thing is climate change is definitely impacting everyone, but it's also made trees a really great. People are really aware of how important trees are, and so we have a lot of people approaching us from the institutional world, certainly as far as projects, and we're really pleased about that and happy to get those going.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for your time, Doug, today.